Can't have you missing out on all the action. G'day you mob, how's it going? Welcome to this episode of Pete and Peaches versus plants. Are you ready for this? Peach, are you ready? Are you ready? Ready for a nibble, huh? Right, I need scissors. Oh man, people who send things out first thing on a Monday morning and it arrives on a Tuesday. It's just the best, right? Especially when they live in the same state as you, and yeah, it comes that quickly. So before we get into it, I got these plants from the Living Rock Nursery. I think they only have an eBay store, though I believe they have an Instagram and a Facebook page as well that you can check out. Check out their Instagram because, dear God, they have some absolutely beautiful plants. I think I was chatting to a few cacti friends and they were like, yeah, this guy's no joke and he's probably one of the most talented growers in Australia. So I'm so pumped to have these plants in my collection. We have some really rare Astrophytum that we're going to open up today and they're huge. It's insane. It's like if plants were alcoholic beverages, I feel like cacti would be whiskey because that's how long they take to kind of mature, right? A good whiskey is usually beyond 10 years old. Once you start getting to 18 years, 21 years, 25 years, that's when you start getting the really, really good stuff, though it tends to be prohibitively expensive unless you get those little tasters like me, because you're cheap.
Drink your tight ass away.
And poor. At least whiskey poor. Plant rich and whiskey poor. I feel like I need a t-shirt that says that. Anyway, so yeah, I feel like they're a kind of whiskey, right? And I used to work at a whiskey distillery, one down here on the Bellarine Peninsula called the Whisky, or the Bellarine Distillery. I worked there making whiskey and making gin. And it is nuts because they have to have this kind of foresight. They start making gin. This happens with so many distilleries that open up here in Australia that plan on doing whiskey in the future. They start with gin because it's something they can make instantly and sell, right? Whereas the whiskey, you can't really sell new make. At least it's not popular enough to sell, right? New make is the whiskey that you've freshly distilled and taken literally straight off the still. It hasn't been aged. It's called new make, right? You've made it new. And it tastes nice. You know, you can get some that are like 70-something%, and they're kind of fruity, pretty good, but it's just not what you would think of as whiskey, right? There's no oakiness, there's no tannins in there, there's none of that flavor that comes from a lot of the different barrels, the wine barrels, the port barrels, the Madeira barrels, all that sort of stuff that they use. And so it's something that they have to think about. They have to think, how do we get enough revenue so that we can start making whiskey now, and in 4 years, 6 years, 10 years, 20 years, we'll start having whiskies that we can release that are really good quality. And I think, at least in Scotland, I believe, maybe the US too, I don't think you can actually call it whiskey unless it's been in a barrel for at least 2 years. I think that's the case. The rules seem to change from place to place, but yeah, you wouldn't be able to sell new make and call it whiskey, I don't think anywhere, because it has to have been through that process of aging on wood, right? In wood, on wood. And so yeah, it is really interesting because the Bellarine Distillery, they've only just started releasing whiskies that are 2, 3, 4 years old. And it's going to be decades before they start having really, really, really well-aged, expensive, rare kind of whiskies. Okay, so anyway, I saw these pop up on eBay and they went auctions. And I just couldn't help myself. I had to lash out. And I was sitting there. It was funny. There were 6 cacti that I was initially looking at. And I was chatting to a friend and I'm like, are these good prices? Is it worth getting? Are they rare? You know, I mean, I knew that they were rare and that they were worth getting, but I was like, is this my money's worth? Are these really good? You know, is this a good deal? And in the time that I had asked him, one disappeared and I was like, it was FOMO, right? So I ended up just chucking all 5 of the rest in my cart, and I also got a 6th one, and yeah, I just couldn't help myself. So anyway, we had a good week in eBay. Last week, I ended up selling 2 of my Ilsamanii. I need to do a video on that at some point, but I bought a Philodendron Ilsamanii probably about 4 months ago, so the end of last year. It was a tiny little one that was like a propagation. It was like a little tiny wet stick almost. It had roots, but it was very, very small. and it had very, very small leaves, but I grew it out and it ended up having 2 growth points. And so I wanted to grow it out to just have another Ilsamanii in the collection that I could propagate from and then sell in the future. It ended up growing pretty vigorously, pretty quickly, and its variegation was stunning. So I think I spent $300 to $400 on it originally in an auction on Facebook in one of the buy, sell, swap groups. And so I got my hands on that. I chucked it in with my tissue culture plants and had it in a prop box. And then I grew it out, it ended up having 2 heads on it, so I chopped it in half, propagated those out into 2 separate pots. They grew quickly, pushed out probably another 3 leaves each, and I sold both of those on eBay last week for, I think each was $400. So I ended up making 100% profit on it, which was really cool. And yeah, I put that profit into these cacti. All right, wow, okay, so I was thinking maybe I have to pot these up, but I don't know how these look like they may already be in pots. I had no expectation that they were going to be this big, but perhaps it's also the wrapping. So we'll just open these up and then I'll start talking. I'm actually really surprised that they came in so many boxes, these 2 boxes. I was kind of expecting something like this size, but yeah, we have 2 boxes. I think they may have just been incredibly well packaged. It's almost like unwrapping an Egyptian mummy. I don't know if is that like bigoted to say that? Is that like ignorant? Unwrapping a mummy? Is using the term mummy like correct, or is that really kind of gross? I think these might be in pots. I was thinking I'm gonna have to pot them up, but I have a feeling, I can feel, that they are already in pots. Wow, god damn. So here's the first one, and it does feel like it's kind of busting out. But this is the light is way too bright here. There we go. It is a V-type Super Kabuto Astrophytum asterias. And so I have several of these in here to show you, but there's the first one. Beautiful. I was so pumped to get one of these V-type ones, and I think you can probably work out why it's called a V-type. You can see those V shapes on it. They're incredibly rare and hard to get your hands on. I was trying to buy some recently from someone. He'd sent me a photo of his collection of Super Kabuto Astrophytum, and I was like, he's just like, circle the ones that you want. And I circled all the V-type ones, and he's like, oh, those aren't for sale, they're for breeding. And I was like, god damn it. So, yeah, anyway. Wow, really well packaged, but yeah, blows my mind. They're kind of in these sized pots, and they're already, they're already this big ones packaged. Already? I don't know. I'm just excited, guys. I'm sorry. I need to turn this light down. Hopefully that's better, and it's not going to blow out the plant as much. I guess that's the issue with having plants that are predominantly white. They're going to blow the exposure out on the camera. Okay, so the reason I got these 2 is that I am really keen on creating my own hybrids in the future, but also just getting seed from them to sell. And something like this, again, I'm still sort of learning, but this is many years old, right? It would probably surprise me if it's like younger than 5 years old and older than 10. I'm still sort of learning what to expect. If it's on its own roots and it's never been grafted, it's also probably older because being on a graft makes it grow a lot quicker, usually. But yeah, they're old and they're difficult to get to this stage from seed, right? At least it takes a very, very long time. All right, so what is in this one? So there should be 3 different cultivars that I've got here in this order. Okay, so this is another V-type one. Beautiful, really well packaged too. So amazing work, Simon at The Living Rock. Highly recommend, guys. So here is this one. I'll also try and make sure to get some footage of them from above so that you can see them a little more easily. But yeah, absolutely beautiful. So there you go. There are the first 2. Wow. I know we've been going quite cactus heavy recently on the channel, guys. I hope you don't mind. All right. you guys will have to let me know if you're into whiskey or other spirits. What are your favorite drinks? I initially, when I was younger, hated whiskey. But I didn't hate it, I just tried it, and I remember I think I drank quite a bit of it one night when I first started drinking. I only did in my 20s, I started at like 23. And it was brutal, yeah. I remember it just being like, ugh. And that would have been like Johnny Walker Black, you know, some really, really light stuff in comparison to what else is out there and where my tastes ended up going. But I got the job at the Whisky or at the Bellarine Distillery back in the day because I had gotten really into whiskey and was buying a whole bunch of stuff and trying to sort of learn about it, and yeah, just got hooked on it. And yeah, my tastes ended up going down the route of really smoky stuff. So if you're into whiskies, you might know Bruichladdich and Lagavulin, all the Islay whiskies. Ardbeg is another really good one. There's quite a few of them. What's the other one? Bunnahabhain. Those were all amazing, amazing whiskies. And then the ones that are like smoky but have that seaweedy Talisker. Seaweedy, that's a good one as well. It's not an Islay whiskey, but that was a really nice one that has a lot of seaweedy iodine kind of taste to it. So those I started to really love. And then on the other side of it, it was the ones that had been aged in sherry casks or Madeira casks. So I think they may be effectively the same thing, but Madeira, I think that's Spanish, or is that, no, that might be Portuguese. But yeah, those ones with that real fruitiness, that really, 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 really brutal fruitiness is just, oh my God, anything that's been aged in like sherry casks, or even port casks as well, just so good. Oh my God, they're just so, so, so good. So yeah, I found a whole bunch of whiskies that were probably 10 to 18 years old that were sherry aged, and they just blew my top off as well. So I got into all that sort of stuff. But yeah, you'll have to let me know if you guys are into whiskey, what kind of whiskies you drink, what you're into. There's some really good stuff. I've forgotten the name. There's one from Taiwan. I've forgotten the name, but they did some really, really good whiskies. I ended up getting one of those advent calendars that was like really rare whiskey ones. And there was some from Taiwan and France and all sorts of interesting places around the world, even Australia. We've got more distilleries here than Scotland has, right? It's just insane, but they're all really young. But yeah, it was just phenomenal. All right, so here is the third and final V-type. Astrophytum Kabuto asterias, species asterias. So yeah, it's funny. It's one of those things, anytime you see people selling things, plants, online, especially when the plants are like absolutely phenomenal. You look at them and you're just like, good God, like top notch, 10 out of 10. I'm always thinking, what are they holding on to though? Like if this is what they're willing to sell, what have they got in their collection that they're like, that's my private stock? Because there must be just the most insane things in some of the people's collections that I've bought stuff from and been blown away by the quality of what it is that I've bought, you know? So yeah, it's funny how, I don't know, I don't often think about that, but sometimes it pops up and then you do, you know, chat to someone, you're like, can you show me a little bit behind the scenes? And you're like, holy shit! Like, take a testicle, have your pick. What can I take? All right, so what is this one gonna be? Geez, I'll tell you what, sorry about the ruffling, guys, if there's a whole bunch of noise that's being made here with this paper, but I'm going to have so much packaging material for the next month with all of the sales that I'll be doing on eBay. And I guess I should let you know, hopefully, if you're watching this now, I don't know when this will be out, but I am starting to sell the plants that we propagated in the $5,000 aeroponics run. I'll link the video up above so you can go check it out, but they're starting to trickle out on eBay. So I had a whole bunch of you guys asking about them and being like, when are these coming out? So yeah. This thing is massive. Jesus. All right, so this is a different species, but it's also a Japanese cultivar. I can't remember it off the top of my head which one exactly it is. I think it's a Fukuryu, but it's an Astrophytum myriostigma hybrid. And oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. So this one has not been put in a pot. It's been just taken straight out as a chunk with soil. That's pretty bizarre. I wonder if I can slot it straight into one of my other pots here. So let's lie it down. Hopefully the person was using effectively the same size pot that I have in front of me, and I will be able to just unwrap it and slide it straight in.
That's what she said.
I wonder what made him decide to take the pot out but leave the substrate there. I guess he didn't want to disturb the roots. Interesting. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is so, it's as heavy as it looks, guys. Okay, so I think it's gonna fit here, but I'm gonna have to put some soil in the bottom. Oh my gosh. Perfect. Well, it feels kind of weird to not really have to, I don't know, break up the soil or anything like that. Oh man, it's like a solid rock. Maybe that's why he's left it there, like so. All right, I guess I'm just gonna, sorry I'm doing this off camera, I'm just gonna sort of chuck soil on the top and then tap it so that the soil hopefully makes its way down the cracks on the side. All right, hopefully that's okay. Whoa, what a stunner, my God. You can see why I got this one, guys. This is probably gonna be my largest Astrophytum now. Like, it is ginormous. Wow, what a stunner. It's like the Hulk. Every time I see this, I'm like, it's like a insane, muscly Hulk. Okay. Jesus, I'm running out of space here. You guys can't see it, but I'm sort of pushing everything down in front of the camera and then pushing it backwards along the table to give me about this much space at the front. Okay, so where are the other two? We got another two here. These should both be the same things, but different from what you have just seen. Well, more or less. Different cultivars. It came with a little flower on top. So, oof, this one's bulging out as well. Probably needs a repot. But this is Hanazono Gold, I think. I'll double check again. But you can just see, look at all of the tufts of hair on them. I'm not sure if those are trichomes or not. I know that the ones that are right down there on the green, on the flat surface of the green, I believe they're called trichomes, but I'm not sure if these sort of fluffy hairballs on this thing are the same. But yeah, and I should add, so I think I spent about $600. And so each of these plants was between $70 and $120. Depending on which one it was and what the quality was of the cultivar. And I think I may have missed out on the highest quality Hanazono one, hence only having two of them. Jesus. It's going to take me longer to pack up all the paper than it is unwrapping everything and doing the video. All right, so the last one, here we go. Boom, another Hanazono. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I will chuck it up on the screen for you. But yeah, beautiful. I'm so pumped to have these. The main thing is, yeah, getting seed stock from them initially, that I can cross them together and then hopefully get some effectively pure Hanazono Gold seed and some pure V-type seed, and then sell it or grow it out myself, and it takes a long time, right? So it's going to be years and years and years before they even get to this size, let alone this size. I can't remember, I'll have to look it up. This might have been like 16 years old. I remember I was looking at one from the Living Rock, and I think he was saying in the title it was a 16-year-old plant. So mind-blowing, right? If that's 16 years old, like, it's just crazy. And they get huge. They can get huge. So anyway, that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out this one next, and I'll see you next time. Say Turu Peach. Banjaku. No? See you later.